In 1998, a single night inside a forgotten mansion triggered a chain reaction that would soon erase an entire American city. The world remembers Resident Evil for its zombies and monsters, but beneath the surface lies a spiraling timeline, stretching from corporate backrooms and city streets to remote islands, ruined villages, and future war zones. Across dozens of games, what started as isolated experiments escalated into global catastrophe, forcing ordinary people like Jill, Leon, Claire, and Chris into battles no one was prepared to fight. This is every single Resident Evil game's timeline, unspooled from the first outbreak to the dangers still to come. But how did simple experiments unleash nightmares that refuse to end? And what dark secrets did each era leave behind? July 1998, the forests outside Raccoon City. A train derails in the dead of night, spilling its infected cargo across the tracks. Rebecca Chambers, the youngest STARS officer, finds herself trapped alongside a fugitive, Billy Cohen. Their desperate alliance takes them from the doomed Ecliptic Express into the bowels of Umbrella's hidden laboratories, where leeches and failed experiments roam unchecked. By sunrise, the horrors have only multiplied. The next day, STARS Alpha Team enters the nearby Spencer Mansion, searching for their missing comrades. Inside, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine uncover a nightmare. Umbrella's T-Virus has turned the staff into undead, and the mansion's secret passages crawl with monsters engineered for war. Each locked door, each flickering corridor brings them closer to the truth. The company's bioweapons are out of control, and no one is coming to save them. Summer turns to fall, but the infection doesn't stay contained. By late September, the virus overruns Raccoon City. Jill, now hunted by the relentless Nemesis, fights to escape as chaos erupts in the streets. Elsewhere, rookie cop Leon Kennedy and college student Claire Redfield arrive just as the city collapses. They're swept into a battle against mutated creatures and the monstrous William Birkin, whose G-Virus threatens to create an even deadlier outbreak. For days, survivors dodge death in police stations, sewers, and secret labs, their only goal? Get out alive. On October 1st, the US government authorizes a nuclear strike. Raccoon City vanishes in a flash of light, erasing the evidence, but not the consequences. The world's first taste of bioterror has begun, and the survivors carry the scars into the years ahead. December 1998. Far from the ruins of Raccoon City, Claire Redfield is captured while searching for her brother and shipped to Rockford Island, an Umbrella prison complex bristling with secrets. The outbreak here is no accident. Alfred Ashford, heir to one of Umbrella's founding families, unleashes the T-Virus in a desperate bid to maintain control. In the chaos, Claire and fellow prisoner Steve Burnside fight through cell blocks crawling with mutated guards and grotesque experiments. The island's true master, Alexia Ashford, lies frozen beneath the Antarctic ice, her body infused with the experimental T. Veronica virus. When Alexia awakens, she transforms into something almost unkillable, forcing Claire and Chris Redfield to confront a new breed of bioweapon, one that blurs the line between human and monster. Umbrella's failures are no longer a local crisis. By 2004, Leon Kennedy, now a government agent, is dispatched to rural Spain. His mission? Rescue the president's daughter from a secluded village. But the threat here is older than any virus. Deep beneath a crumbling castle, the Los Illuminados cult has unearthed Las Plagas, an ancient parasite capable of controlling minds and warping flesh. Villagers become violent puppets, and Leon faces horrors that move and think with terrifying coordination. The plagas spread through implantation, not infection, signaling a new era of bioterror that can't be contained by borders or vaccines. As the franchise moves beyond Umbrella's shadow, the world faces threats that are stranger, smarter, and far more unpredictable. While the world reeled from Raccoon City's destruction, other stories unfolded in the shadows, some canon, some not, but each adding a unique thread to the Resident Evil tapestry. In November 1998, a lone survivor awoke on Sheena Island with no memory and a pistol in hand. This was the setting for Resident Evil Survivor, where Vincent Goldman's secrets and a fresh T-Virus outbreak turned an isolated Umbrella facility into a graveyard. Weeks later, on the high seas, Bruce McGivern and Fong Ling found themselves fighting for survival aboard the Spencer Rain. Dead Aim, set in 2002, blended espionage with horror as the ship's decks overflowed with BOWs and Umbrella's reach stretched across the Atlantic. Meanwhile, far from the spotlight, ordinary citizens tried to escape Raccoon City's doomed streets. Resident Evil Outbreak and its sequel chronicled the struggles of Kevin Ryman, Yoko Suzuki, and a handful of survivors. Their stories, set during the same days as Leon and Jill's battles, offered a ground-level view of chaos. one where every locked door and infected alley spelled disaster for those without a badge or a badge's training. Not every tale fit the official record. Resident Evil Gaiden, released on the Game Boy Color, followed Leon Kennedy and Barry Burton on the Starlight cruise ship, battling a shape-shifting BOW. Capcom never recognized Gaiden as canon, but its premise, an oceanic nightmare, foreshadowed later maritime horrors. Years later, the Chronicles rail shooters arrived, retelling key events through new eyes and adding original scenarios. Umbrella's End in Siberia and Operation Javier in South America. These games stitched together the series' scattered history, giving voice to side characters and closing gaps left by the mainline entries. By 2009, the world had become a testing ground for rival corporations eager to fill the void left by Umbrella's downfall. In the heart of Africa, Chris Redfield and Sheva Alomar tracked shipments of black market bioweapons to the remote region of Kijuju. Their investigation uncovered Tricell, a pharmaceutical giant with ambitions as dark as Umbrella's. Tricell's Ouroboros virus, derived from the original progenitor strain, threatened to wipe out entire populations, mutating victims into writhing masses of black tendrils. Chris faced not only the monsters spawned by Ouroboros, but also his old nemesis, Albert Wesker, now nearly unstoppable after injecting himself with the virus. The fight ended in a volcanic crater, with Wesker sinking beneath the lava, but the threat of global bioterror had only grown more complex. Meanwhile, new horrors surfaced on a forgotten island in 2011. Claire Redfield, joined by Moira Burton, awoke as prisoners in a decaying fortress, their every move monitored by a sadistic overseer. The T-Phobos virus, designed to activate under extreme fear, turned captives into abominations if their courage failed. Claire and Moira's struggle against both monsters and their own panic revealed just how far the world's bioengineers had drifted from any notion of control. The years that followed brought chaos on a scale never seen before. In 2012 and 2013, the C virus swept through Eastern Europe, China, and the United States, sparking simultaneous outbreaks and civil wars. Leon Kennedy, Sherry Birkin, and Jake Muller, son of Wesker himself, found themselves at the center of a web spun by Neo Umbrella and its leader, Carla Radames. The C virus produced Javo, creatures capable of rapid mutation and regeneration, while entire cities fell to chaos. Governments collapsed, alliances fractured, and the line between hero and casualty blurred. The age of isolated outbreaks had ended. Bioterror was now a global reality, with no refuge left untouched. July 2017, the Louisiana Bayou. Ethan Winters arrives at a rotting plantation searching for his missing wife, Mia. What he finds instead is the Baker family, warped by a living fungus known as the mold. The house itself becomes a labyrinth of nightmares, each room crawling with creatures that defy reason. As the mold spreads, it warps flesh and memory, erasing the line between victim and monster. The Bakers, once ordinary people, are now puppets of the E-Series bioweapon, engineered by a criminal syndicate called the Connections. Ethan's desperate fight for survival unfolds in cramped hallways and flooded cellars, echoing the suffocating dread of the series' earliest days. 4 years later, a snowbound village in Eastern Europe. Ethan's journey continues, this time in search of his kidnapped daughter. The land is ruled by 4 twisted lords, each transformed by the Kadu parasite, a grotesque offshoot of the mold created by the enigmatic Mother Miranda. Towering Lady Dimitrescu stalks her castle's halls, while beneath the surface, Miranda's experiments threaten to birth a new breed of bioweapon. Ethan's struggle becomes a battle against both science and superstition, as the mold's influence merges with ancient folklore and genetic manipulation. While Ethan's story carves a new path, familiar faces return in the series' modern remakes. Between 2019 and 2023, Capcom reimagines the Raccoon City outbreak and the European nightmare, blending old and new for a fresh generation. These remakes weave legacy characters, Leon, Claire, Jill, back into the tapestry. Their stories retold with new detail, but the same relentless danger. The timeline now stands on the edge of the unknown. With Resident Evil Requiem set for 2026, the next chapter promises new horrors, hinting that the cycle of infection and survival is far from over. Across over 2 decades and more than 20 distinct game releases, the Resident Evil timeline documents a shift from the 1998 Mansion outbreak to the confirmed 2026 events of Resident Evil Requiem. Each entry, from the Raccoon City disaster to the mold incident in Dulvey, shows how bioterror evolved from isolated experiments to global threats. While official records detail the fall of Umbrella, the emergence of new viruses like Las Plagas and the C virus, and the rise of organizations such as the BSAA, several files remain classified by in-universe authorities, especially regarding the origins of certain bioweapons and the fate of key figures. Today, the franchise's timeline highlights both the progress in bioweapon response and the persistent risk of future incidents. According to Capcom's published materials, the story is ongoing, with new threats already scheduled. The Resident Evil universe, grounded in decades of documented events, remains as unpredictable as ever, reminding us that, in this world, the next outbreak is only a file away.